Mhm.
Hello, and welcome to another podcast from the Ascended Thread. I'm Andrea Clem from The Way Home to You.
And I'm Dana Swazo with One Thread Healing. And I don't think we really have a agenda today of what we want to talk about. We have a general idea, but I think it's going to be one of those topics that just whatever channels through is how it's going to flow. Because I know we want to make this fun and entertaining, but yet at the same time very informative for people. And I know we kind of had somewhat of an idea of what we wanted to talk about, but then when I was like driving to Costco, I was getting all kinds of information, channeled through about like, well, what about this? What about, like along the same topic. But I feel like, and then I'm like, but I'm going to have to say that's kind of a deep dive for another time, you know. So anyways, I had to quiet my mind and come on. And so now whatever comes channeled through for us is, I think, what we're supposed to talk about.
I think that's 100% it. Because one thing you and I have been talking about a little bit is just there's so much going on in the world today.
Mhm.
We were trying to come up with what's an important topic to talk about today.
Right.
And, there's this collective uncertainty, this energy, heightened emotions. Our nervous systems are, just a little crazier because we are constantly being bombarded by information.
Hmm.
So yeah, maybe we could kind of go down that path and see if we can talk about ways to help ourselves as well as maybe tools for the collective so we can feel better in this crazy time.
Right, right. Yeah, because I know one thing we're supposed to do, and we know it. And I think you and I have like jokingly talked about like we tell our clients these things, and we know it, but yet at times we're still human and we get mixed up in it, and it's like, oh, I tell my client that all the time, and here I am like. But yeah, I think one thing I for sure do is just I try to not watch the news or read the news stories. I try to just really not listen to the outside perspective, like outside of myself perspective too much. And I know that, but yet at times you can't help it. Like people talk to you, they tell you things they hear. Your phones do news break, and you kind of look, and I just try to be like, okay, so at least, I'm a little bit aware what's going on, because I'll just see that thing, but I'll be like, okay, but I'm not going to read it because I don't want to deep dive into it or I don't want to get sucked into it. Um,
Yeah.
so that's one thing. And I don't know what it's like for you, if you watch news or what you do.
I do not. I actually, when COVID came around, I stopped watching the news because it was bringing up so much fear inside of
Mhm.
me, this constant about the virus and everything that I decided at that point I'm going to stop watching it, and I haven't since. But you're right, I still see it in other ways, whether it's the top news that shows up on my phone or through social media, because
Right.
people are always talking about something. So you're still aware, and I do my best not to go down that deep dive, but I it's still there. Uh,
Right.
but I do limit it from, like you said, from not watching the actual news channels, trying to not read as much, and that's I think helps a bit. Uh,
Mhm.
but there's still the conversations with folks and everything like that. So
Right, right. Well,
I
because we know why it's happening. We know why because I'm sure some people are like, "Oh my God, the world's never been this bad before." I mean, but there have been times. But yeah, but we are in like the last deep purging of stuff, so that's why all this stuff is coming up is for us to see it,
yes.
clear it, or make a change about it. And I know we did a Reiki share together, and I know like I think some of us were feeling, or like, oh, I feel so ungrounded because I feel like I don't know if I'm taking on all the collective fear or what's going on with me, or and I think I don't know if it was you or someone else mentioned. that like, I don't know if I need to do something. Like, do I need to go out there and participate and be involved? And I'm like, well, listen to yourself, like, listen to your inner guidance as to whether you're supposed to do that. Because, if we're here on this planet, we're those who are all here, we're here for a reason, and we all have our different, unique abilities that we came in with and what we came in to do in this lifetime. And so some of us are meant to be the protesters, the like fight against whatever, whatever the cause might be. And some of us are here just to hold space, hold neutral space, which I would say I lean toward, more towards the middle. I wouldn't say I'm affiliated either way, left, right, whatever, with political. I am just in the middle because I know what I want to obtain in this lifetime, and that's to reach ascension. And that could be a whole deep dive talk sometime of what that means, but yeah, we're all here to do something different. And so some of us are supposed to be the warriors, and some of us are meant to be the peacekeepers, and or the just hold neutral space for everyone, or be the healers, whatever. So I don't know. I just felt like I needed to bring that up.
I think you're exactly right. And thank you for that reminder because you did say, in order to determine that, what you do is really need to connect with yourself, right? And I think a lot of times when we are in these heightened states, and emotions are good. I'm not saying
Oh
bypass
yeah, for
emotions,
sure.
that's definitely not what I'm saying. But when we're in these heightened states, we're not able to connect inward. And
Hmm.
so sometimes when these overwhelming feelings come up, maybe pausing, taking the breath, feeling it and starting to feel it in the body, reconnecting, and letting that emotion flow through you. But as you calm, I guess I'd say, or connect, that's when you can make those better decisions and say, oh no, this feels like what I should do in this moment. And I'm sure that answer can change at any moment depending on what's going on.
Right, right. Because when it comes up, it's like, okay, what is this for me? Like, why am I having this response? What is this for me? What do I need to work through on this? Because that's really how we do our inner work, right? Is like you said, like I'm not trying to say not have those emotions. 'Cause
Yes.
that's exactly what we're supposed to do is have that emotion, but not hold on to it. And so then we need to like, okay, in what way do I need to work through this,
Yes, because they're all like signals and indicators that something's
Hmm.
coming up. So, hey, listen, um, but don't necessarily get stuck in it. But definitely don't push them away.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think things like getting quiet, things like taking a couple breaths, all of that throughout the day can help re-regulate us so we can reconnect and move the way that we want to daily. I even have a reminder on my phone that goes off, excuse me, several times a day that says, take 3 deep breaths. Because I can walk around and I'll notice I'm shallow, when I do think of the breath, sometimes I'm shallow breathing or, not so
Right.
as, we go in and out throughout the day, even though I really try to be grounded and practice all the things I preach, I need the reminders and I get caught up in things myself.
Right. Right. Because like you said, the collective noise is not neutral to our nervous system. So we're not meant to process all that constant alerts, headlines, and crisis cycles. And because our nervous system evolved for, immediate local information, not global emergency 24/7. So when the
Right.
brain can't tell what's, actionable versus just what's information, it often defaults into low grade fight or flight, like you said, like it might not seem like much, but you are kind of in this constant low grade fight or flight. So I love your idea of breath work
Yeah,
as
that's
something to just kind of, okay, I got to regulate my nervous system because I can tell I'm like, whew.
it's been a big help for me. Yeah.
Hmm.
Another one I do though, sometimes during the winter this isn't as fun or I do it as often, but is even sitting on my deck in the morning watching the
Oh
sun,
yeah.
my coffee, but just having that peaceful connection, hearing the birds wake up and things like that, watching the sunrise, I feel so much more connected. I guess to the greater universe, right? It's not that I'm connected to something outside of me, but I feel more whole and more one
Oh yeah.
and connected to self as well.
Hmm.
So that's a nice, I found that as a nice way for me to start the day in the energy that I want.
Right. Because it's peaceful. It's
Yes,
peaceful quiet, right? It's not
absolutely.
the like TV or radio or whatever, social media. Because like you said, yeah, even social media, even if you try not to watch the news, someone might post something and then you're like, okay, something must be going on because someone posted this happened. So,
Yeah. Um, and I'm trying to think what other kind of things that I do besides just returning to the breath. Walks for me, always going back into
mhm.
when I feel too frazzled. Um, and a lot of time I'm taking my dog on the walk or whatever, but just looking around, seeing the birds, having my feet and the movement, because I also
Yeah,
think moving our bodies is critical in times of overwhelm,
right.
because it does help energetically move things as well and take us out of this stationary place where we can be looping our thoughts
Hmm.
and looping our emotions, and okay, let's move somewhere else and go somewhere else.
Right. And I feel like that's actually when I get a lot of like guidance.
Hmm.
Information is when I'm walking because I'm in silence pretty much. So I'm just walking the dog and then that's when like thoughts will pop in and I'll be like, I mean, it could be even really random things like, oh, I should tell so and so, like it could even be a thought for a friend or a client or something, and then I'll be like, I don't know why this thought just pop in and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I totally needed to hear that today. So, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's when we can also get guidance too.
Yes, absolutely, right, that it's times of silence is when those come in. uh
Right. I
yeah,
find taking like a Epsom salt bath sometimes helps me too. If I need to just kind of go calm and reset, that really helps too.
me too. I'm a bath girl, and the water um really helps me a lot. And other things, grounding, because and I think there is a real true physical thing that happens when we ground and connect to
Mhm.
the earth. um and it can reset our nervous systems and help you know calm us. So that's another tool. And one where I actually struggle with this, but since probably for the last month, I have been doing this. I have been journaling very shortly, and it has helped me to get thoughts out, get them out of my head onto paper, and then I don't spin. And one thing I did, because this is something that I really struggle with, I told myself, I have a friend and we've kind of become accountability partners for, hey, we want to meditate and we want to journal. But okay, let's do it. I'm going to meditate for 1 minute and I'm going to journal for 1 minute, because that's not overwhelming. That's not hard. I can take a minute. I could take a minute. And then I said, check, I did this, and
Right.
I reinforce for myself that I do the things I want to do, which makes me feel good. But then I'm also doing this and it's not overwhelming, and then I can do it for longer. And so it's a good way for me to get into this habit, I think.
Right. I know I keep hearing journal, you need to journal. You need to journal. You need to journal. So I know I need to get better about journaling as well.
I tell my clients that, and then I tell them, and I have to do this, and a lot of times I don't. But I have struggled with that in the past a lot. But
Right.
doing 1 minute, it's not as hard and not as difficult.
Right. Right.
I think that's a good way, or I'm finding that that's a good way to start any new habit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and another thing you could do is find a local sound bath. I mean, as we know, because we're both sound bowl practitioners, so you
Yeah.
could go to wherever, where I'm sure you can. find them on Facebook I know Andrea and I post ours when we do them, but yeah, just going to a sound bath can help put you back into a state of like inner
Absolutely.
peace.
Yeah, that's a great way to do that. Yoga,
Hmm.
gentle movement of the body, I guess Tai Chi or Qigong, any of those kind of things, as well. And, for sound baths, you can find them on YouTube as well.
Right. Yes,
I
that's
think
very
there is
true.
something to be said about being present in one where you can really feel the vibrations and stuff throughout your body, but there's lots of things, free tools out there.
Hmm.
Meditations on YouTube. Um,
Yeah.
even just sit,
Yeah.
quietly and maybe whether it's focusing on your breath, focusing on that air conditioner or on the fan or something for that minute, just silencing the mind again,
Right, right. And
constantly.
I have a friend who was like, I don't know how to meditate. I try and I can't. And that's the beauty of YouTube is there are a lot of like what was the word I was going to look for? Guided meditations.
Mhm.
So, you can, and that's what I told her. I'm like, just watch some guided meditations because they kind of, just gently walk you through it. So, you could listen to guided meditations and that'll help you if you are new to meditations.
Right. And if you find one and you're like, oh, I don't really like that, check out other ones, because you
Yes.
find that person that resonates with you because some folks don't resonate with you. But check, give it a shot because I will say it's changed my life
Hmm.
and the way that I'm able to identify thoughts. I think negative thoughts much quicker when I do start going down that rabbit trail or hole or whatever it is. I think I recognize it a lot quicker and can then say, I don't think I want to think about this. That's been a huge thing that meditation has done for me. And I think my kids will say, since I've gone down this path, I've really just chilled out a whole lot.
Right.
Uh, so overall, when things come up, I'm not as reactive. And I feel a lot more in control of myself most of the time.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I liked your point about like, and if you don't like the one guided meditation you watched on YouTube, go find someone else because I find, and it's so funny because I know I'm a music person. Like I grew up with listening to music and I love concerts and I know that's how my guides give me messages when I work on people as they bring songs in my head. But I realized, and I realized it like I don't know, I don't know, like 5 years ago or so, that like even certain gym teachers, like or like exercise classes, if I took from certain instructors, I was like, I don't know why, but that person, I just, and I'll try a couple times. I'm like, that person just does not resonate with me. And it could be something as silly as the music they play. And so,
Yeah.
and so just like with healers, right? Like not everyone's going to resonate with us because there's just something that resonates with us. But that's what I told my friend because she's like, I tried to listen to one guided meditation and I just couldn't relax. And I'm like, well, I do have to say, I am very sensitive to people's tones of their voice, as well as the music they play. So I did give her some suggestions of people that resonated with me because I was like, they just have the right tone in their voice and then the right music. So yeah, it might, there's others out there. So, don't be tied to one person. If it's not resonating with you, there's just something about it that's not resonating with you, and that's okay.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Um, yeah, because and all of the different things that we suggest, a lot of them you might find this no,
Right,
you don't even want to try this, but trying different things and then finding something that resonates with you because I think it is key right now for us to use different tools to check in with ourselves a lot throughout the day and try to regulate ourselves.
right.
Right.
Right. And going back to your talk about yeah, at the very beginning you said, because the you find you get caught up in the news and whatever, and you find you can't um really then access your intuition, and that's right, because news is emotionally activate, like whether it doesn't matter what station or what news you listen to, it's all acted built to activate fear or and so making that makes it harder to access our intuition when we're constantly in that fear. And so like all these things we're saying of what you can do, it'll help bring you back to accessing your intuition and your creativity and your discernment, to listen to your own inner truth. So yeah, so all of the things we suggested, all of the sound baths, the breathe, just breathing exercises, breath work, whatever, all that kind of stuff will help channel
Yeah.
you back into your, yeah,
Well,
kind of
even
calming.
sorry, you had said the creativity, which made me think, maybe leaning into things that we enjoy that we aren't doing right now instead of
Right.
do it maybe the news,
Yes.
TV, or things like that. So maybe that is drawing that you used to do, or art, or uh, crosswords, or who knows, but something that your whole brain, your whole energy is just focused on this. It takes us outside of the doom and gloom. And it can be like meditation too. Coloring, they have all those different
That's
colors.
what I was going to say. Even if you enjoyed coloring as a kid, hey, why not? Get a coloring book, because I think they even make adult coloring books. Yeah, do that, and that'll kind of bring you back to your inner child too. And yeah, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And kind of fun ways to do it. And, of course, like spending time with those we care about too. And hopefully not having those, you know, political conversations or whatever kind of conversations, but maybe it's games, playing a game, or different things like that. But or just being around those people that make you feel good.
Right,
I
right.
think is
Again, going back to your discernment, right?
yeah,
What resonates with you, what doesn't, and just being okay with letting go what doesn't resonate with you anymore too.
yeah. Yeah. And I think this, some people might be concerned, like not watching the news. Well, then I'm not informed. I'm disconnected from
Right,
the world, or I'm bypassing what's going on. I don't think that's totally true because I think in today's age, we are, regardless, pretty aware of
right,
overall
right,
going on. You can't get away from it. But the things that you limit, think of it this way: I am choosing to be present in today without being flooded.
hmm
We can, maybe it's setting up boundaries and saying, okay, I'm going to limit my time on whatever app or whatever it is, the news, the social media, whatever. I'm going to set a limit each day. Um, you know, Setting up different boundaries to just limit this intake and limit things that make you feel bad.
right. Right. And like you said, choosing inner truth doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong or you're not radical enough. Because I know in our culture today, there is kind of this, I don't know, your constant reaction is rewarded in some ways. But you know what? Choosing to slow down and unplug and just listen inward is quietly revolutionary, because when you're calm and your inner truth comes in, it invites, presence and honesty and self-trust. And then when it has a ripple effect, right? So if you're choosing to do that, and then the people around you choose to do that, then the collective kind of tends to itself begin to settle.
Yes. And I think that's how it starts, right?
Right.
We be the people we want to see in the world. And so
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I need to do these sort of things. That's great. I walk in the world and I try to send out my love or do the things with love. That's how we make the change. By being our true selves, we allow others to do that too. So yeah, I think that's,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
yep. So
Because when it comes down to it, what we're all trying to get back to is oneness. And I know that's a whole nother thing that could be a whole nother topic of, well, what does that exactly mean? But when you boil it all down to all the layers, it's we all just want to come back to love.
mhm.
And so, yeah, by displaying that exactly, then it just kind of starts bringing that in, inviting that in.
Yes, yes. Um, and doing these types of things, working to regulate ourselves. It's not that we're trying to fix something, really. We're just
Right.
continuously returning back to ourselves.
Exactly.
Being that,
Exactly.
and the more anchored we are in ourselves, then we're not going to be tossed around by the different things as they come up as much or get caught up in that collective um feelings. So just think of this as, hey, I'm continuously coming home to myself, checking back in today. How am I doing?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. And I invite our viewers today, if they want to put any, what they do to calm themselves down or, um, what their practices are, or if they have any other additional thoughts that we didn't come up with, I invite people to put down what works for them as well, just to give everyone ideas of how they can, start self-regulating themselves. Because I'm sure there's plenty out there that
Yes.
people do.
Yeah, so many that we haven't thought of.
Right, right.
And so I hope all of you find something that resonates with you to try and see how it does change your day-to-day feelings. Because again, our feelings are not bad, but understanding if it's truly yours versus I'm just constantly picking up everything um, is really important and key. So just even that awareness of asking that question, is this really mine? And sitting in that, I think is a great step.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Well, I feel like we kind of ended it at a perfect time, in a perfect way. I think everything flew just perfectly today. I feel like we were guided. So,
I feel so.
um, yeah, we just are grateful for all our viewers, and don't forget to share or like and subscribe to our channel. We're very appreciative.
Yes, thank you all for being here today. Our next podcast, we'll be having a guest, so make sure to tune in then as well. And until then, I hope you have a great couple weeks. Work on regulating your nervous system and coming home to yourself often.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.